The cafeteria hums with life, a symphony of clattering trays, hissing coffee machines, and the low murmur of students cramming for exams, their voices blending into a chaotic backdrop that fills the expansive room with an energy that feels both invigorating and overwhelming, as if the very air is charged with the intellectual pursuits of young minds eager to unravel the mysteries of the universe. While at the heart of it all stands Rosa Carter, a black woman in her 60s, her graying hair tucked neatly under a hairnet that has seen better days, its edges frayed from countless shifts, her white apron stained with faint traces of tomato sauce from the morning's batch of chili that she prepared with the same meticulous care she applies to everything, though no one ever notices or appreciates the subtle seasonings she adds to make the food just a bit more palatable in this sea of institutional blandness. She moves with quiet precision, ladling soup into bowls with a steady hand that belies the years of labor etched into her palms, wiping counters that are perpetually sticky from spilled sodas and forgotten condiments, and refilling napkin dispensers that seem to empty themselves faster than she can keep up. Her presence as unremarkable to the university's elite as the faded tiles beneath her feet, tiles that were once gleaming when the cafeteria was renovated a decade ago, but now bear the scuffs and scratches of thousands of hurried footsteps. This is no ordinary campus. It's a West Coast beacon of innovation, its sleek glass buildings housing cutting-edge physics labs where experiments probe the very fabric of reality, lecture halls adorned with Nobel Prize citations that hang like trophies on the walls, reminding everyone of the legacy of brilliance that has passed through these halls. Yet, to the students and professors rushing past with their laptops and textbooks clutched tightly, Rosa is just the lunch lady, a fixture as forgettable as the overcooked broccoli she serves alongside the rubbery chicken and limp salads that constitute the daily specials, meals that are consumed without a second thought by those too absorbed in their own worlds to acknowledge the human effort behind them. Rosa has worked here for 15 years, her hands steady as she pours coffee for distracted grad students who mumble their orders without making eye contact, or scrubs pots in the steamy back kitchen where the heat clings to her skin like a second layer, making her uniform stick uncomfortably. She offers polite smiles, rarely returned, smiles that carry a warmth born from a lifetime of resilience. Professors in tailored blazers discuss particle accelerators and string theory over their salads, their voices carrying over the din like authoritative proclamations from on high, never once glancing her way as they debate the intricacies of multiverse hypotheses or the latest findings from the Large Hadron Collider. To them, she's part of the scenery, like the vending machine that jams every Tuesday, spewing out half-eaten candy bars and eliciting curses from frustrated patrons. But Rosa watches. She always watches. Her dark eyes, framed by faint crow's feet that tell stories of laughter and sorrow alike, catch fragments of their conversations, terms like quantum entanglement and wave function collapse that stir something deep within her, something she buried long ago beneath layers of necessity and survival, a spark of intellectual fire that once burned brightly but was dimmed by life's unrelenting demands. This morning, as sunlight streams through the cafeteria's floor-to-ceiling windows, casting golden patterns on the linoleum floor and illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air, Rosa overhears a heated exchange at the physics department's usual table, a corner booth that they claim every day like a territorial ritual. Dr. Alan Kessler, a wiry man with a perpetual frown that creases his forehead like a roadmap of frustrations, slams his fork down with a clatter that echoes slightly. Drawing a few curious glances from nearby tables, the entanglement model breaks down at the second-order perturbation. We've run the simulations 100 times. Nothing works. His voice laced with exasperation that borders on defeat, as if the weight of unsolved riddles is pressing down on his shoulders. Dr. Lena Patel, younger and sharp-tongued, her dark hair pulled back in a no-nonsense ponytail, snaps back with a fire that matches her reputation for cutting through nonsense. Did you adjust for the decoherence rate? The issue's in the Hamiltonian, not the data. Her words slicing through the air like a precision instrument, pointing out flaws with the confidence of someone who has earned her place in this male-dominated field through sheer tenacity. A third professor, Dr. Chen, sighs deeply, rubbing his temples with fingers that bear the ink stains of late-night note-taking, his glasses slipping slightly down his nose as he contemplates the impasse. This problem's been unsolved for decades. Michigan T tried with their supercomputers and endless funding. CERN tried with international collaborations and particle smashers. It's a dead end that has claimed the careers of better minds than ours. His tone resigned, carrying the fatigue of repeated failures that have become all too familiar in the pursuit of scientific breakthroughs. Rosa pauses, her rag hovering over a sticky tabletop where remnants of a hasty lunch linger. The words tug at her memory, pulling her back to late nights in a Stanford library, surrounded by towering stacks of books that smelled of aged paper and ambition, her fingers stained with chalk as she scribbled equations on blackboards that stretched across entire walls, equations that flowed from her mind like poetry, revealing patterns in the chaos of subatomic worlds. Without thinking, she murmurs, "What if you recalibrate the wave function parameters to account for non-local correlations?" Her voice soft, almost lost in the cafeteria's noise that includes the whir of blenders making smoothies and the chatter of undergraduates discussing weekend plans. But Kessler catches it, his head snapping around like a hawk spotting prey. He turns, his eyebrows shooting up in a mix of surprise and amusement. "Excuse me? Did you say something?" His tone dripping with condescension that he doesn't even bother to mask. Rosa freezes, her heart thudding in her chest like a drumbeat echoing through her veins. She lowers her eyes to the floor, clutching the rag as if it were a lifeline. "Just thinking out loud, sir. Sorry." Her words barely audible, laced with the humility she's learned to adopt in a world that often demands it from people like her. Kessler smirks, leaning back in his chair with the ease of someone accustomed to authority. "Stick to serving soup, ma'am. Physics isn't your thing." His words delivered with a casual dismissiveness that cuts deeper than intended. The table erupts in chuckles, not cruel in intent, but dismissive nonetheless. The kind of laughter that stings like a paper cut, sharp and unexpected. Patel stifles a grin behind her hand, her eyes flickering with a hint of embarrassment but not enough to intervene. And Chen looks away, uncomfortable, shifting in his seat as if wishing he could disappear into the background. Rosa forces a tight smile, her hands trembling slightly as she moves to the next table, wiping away crumbs with more force than necessary. She's used to this being unseen, unheard, underestimated. It's a pattern woven into the fabric of her existence, from the subtle slights in stores to the overt assumptions in professional settings. But deep inside, something stirs, like a spark reigniting a long-dormant flame that has been waiting for just the right moment to blaze anew. Rosa Carter is no ordinary lunch lady. Her mind holds secrets of the cosmos, insights into the quantum realm that could shift paradigms. And this university, with its polished arrogance and ivory towers built on exclusion, is about to learn that the hard way as the laughter fades and the professors return to their debate, oblivious to the genius in their midst. Before we dive deeper into this incredible story that unfolds like a revelation, take a moment to hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're enjoying this on. It helps us share stories of unsung heroes who deserve to be heard in a world that often silences them. And when it's over, drop a rating from 0 to 10-inch the comments. Your feedback makes every tale better, providing insights that allow us to refine and elevate these narratives of triumph over adversity. Let's get back to Rosa, whose journey is just beginning to unfold in ways that will challenge everything we think we know about talent and recognition. The cafeteria is quieter now, the lunch rush fading like the ebbing tide, leaving behind a scattering of empty tables and the faint echo of conversations that linger in the air. Rosa pushes a cart of trays, her movements mechanical but her mind racing like a supercomputer processing data at lightning speed. The professor's words loop in her head: entanglement, Hamiltonian, non-local, each term a thread pulling at the tapestry of her past. She knows these terms, not as a bystander eavesdropping on intellectual giants, but as someone who once lived them, breathed them, shaped them with her own innovations. Decades ago, she was Rosa Carter, Stanford class of 1976, a physics prodigy whose papers on quantum mechanics were cited in journals before she could legally drink. Her work on wave functions and particle behaviors earning her accolades from peers who saw in her the future of the field. She was destined for greatness until life chose a different path, one paved with personal sacrifices that demanded she set aside her dreams for the sake of those she loved. Rosa doesn't dwell on it. Not anymore. The pain of what could have been has dulled over time, replaced by a quiet acceptance. But today, that spark refuses to fade. It flickers brighter with each passing moment as she stacks plates onto the cart with a clink that resonates in the now hushed space. She glances at the physics table, now empty except for a crumpled napkin and a notepad scribbled with equations that look like hieroglyphs to the untrained eye. But to her are a map of missteps. She picks up the napkin, her eyes lingering on the numbers scrawled in hasty penmanship. They're wrong, she thinks. Not wrong in the sense of error, but incomplete. Missing the nuanced connections that only experience can reveal. And for the first time in years, Rosa feels the pull of a problem she knows she can solve, a gravitational force drawing her back into the orbit of her true passion, the quantum world where possibilities entwine like particles in superposition, waiting for observation to collapse into reality. Her breath catches as memories flood in, of nights spent under fluorescent lights, debating theories with classmates who became luminaries, of the thrill when a equation balanced perfectly, revealing truths about the universe that felt almost divine, but also of the day everything changed. When personal obligations called her away from the lab and into a life of service, yet here she stands, in this unlikely setting, with the opportunity to reclaim a piece of that brilliance. The cafeteria clock ticks onward, marking the passage of time that has both eroded and enriched her, and as she wheels the cart toward the kitchen, her resolve hardens. This is not just about proving them wrong, it's about honoring the part of herself that never truly left, the genius that has been invisible but never extinct, simmering beneath the surface like a volcano ready to erupt with ideas that could reshape understanding. The air in the cafeteria feels thicker now, charged with the potential of what is to come, as Rosa disappears behind the swinging doors, her mind already mapping out the recalibrations, the adjustments, the insights that will turn their dead end into a gateway. Little do they know that the woman they dismissed is the key to unlocking the puzzle that has eluded the best minds. And as the sun shifts higher in the sky, casting longer shadows across the campus, the stage is set for a revelation that will shake the foundations of this prestigious institution, reminding everyone that true brilliance often hides in the most unexpected places, wrapped in humility and perseverance, waiting for its moment to shine through the cracks of prejudice and assumption. Rosa Carter's story is one of quiet power, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who persist despite being overlooked. And as we follow her journey, we are invited to reflect on our own biases, to look beyond the surface and recognize the hidden talents that surround us every day, in cafeterias, in offices, in communities where voices are silenced but minds remain sharp. This chapter of her life, the invisible genius awakening, is merely the beginning, a prelude to the transformations that lie ahead, where laughter turns to awe, dismissal to respect, and invisibility to indelible legacy, all starting from this ordinary morning in an extraordinary woman's life, where the hum of the cafeteria fades into the background. But the echo of potential resonates louder than ever, drawing us deeper into the narrative of resilience and rediscovery that defines Rosa's path forward. a path that winds through the corridors of academia and the chambers of the heart, blending science with soul in a way that captivates and inspires, urging us to listen more closely to the whispers of genius that might be serving us soup or cleaning our tables. For in those moments of oversight, we miss the opportunities to learn from the very people who hold the answers we seek, and as Rosa contemplates her next move, the university bustles on, unaware of the storm brewing in the mind of its most unassuming employee. A storm of intellect that will soon break with thunderous clarity, illuminating the darkness of unsolved mysteries and the shadows of societal blind spots alike. This is the essence of her story, a blend of everyday struggle and extraordinary capability, woven into a tapestry that challenges us to see the world anew, with eyes open to the possibilities hidden in plain sight. And as the chapter draws to its close, we are left with the anticipation of what comes next. The silent solution that Rosa will forge in the quiet hours, proving once and for all that genius knows no boundaries, no uniforms, no preconceptions, only the pure pursuit of truth in all its entangled glory. The end of this segment leaves us hungry for more, much like the students who line up for Rosa's meals, but this hunger is for justice, for recognition, for the stories that uplift and unite us in our shared humanity. So stay tuned as we delve into the next phase, where actions speak louder than words, and a single act of courage changes everything. The fluorescent light in Rosa's apartment flickers erratically, casting elongated shadows across a cramped kitchen table cluttered with remnants of a solitary dinner, a half-eaten sandwich on a chipped plate, and a mug of cooling herbal tea that she brewed to soothe the day's accumulated tensions. Her apron hangs limply over a wooden chair scarred by years of use, still carrying the faint, lingering scent of bleach mixed with the earthy aroma of onions from the cafeteria's prep work earlier that afternoon. The room itself is modest, walls painted a faded beige that peels slightly at the corners from the humidity of coastal fog seeping through ill-fitted windows, a single bulb overhead, humming like a persistent insect as it struggles against the encroaching darkness of evening. Outside, the distant hum of city traffic filters in, a reminder of the world moving on without pause, while inside, Rosa sits motionless for a moment. Her gaze fixed on a worn wooden box tucked away on a high shelf, its edges scuffed and dusty from deliberate neglect, a relic she rarely disturbs but tonight feels compelled to confront. As if the events of the day have unlocked a door she thought permanently sealed, inside that box are the fragments of another life, one filled with the crisp scent of chalk dust and the electric buzz of intellectual discovery, yellowed research notes scribbled in her precise handwriting, equations that twist and turn like vines seeking light. A Stanford diploma framed in cheap plastic that once symbolized boundless potential, and nestled beside it, a faded photograph of a young Rosa in a cap and gown, her face alight with the unbridled joy of graduation day, grinning broadly beside a professor whose mentorship had propelled her into the stratosphere of quantum physics. But there's another photo, more poignant, of a boy in a wheelchair, her son Michael, his smile radiant despite the medical tubes snaking across his small frame, eyes sparkling with the innocence of childhood unbroken by his severe cerebral palsy, a condition that demanded everything from Rosa, her time, her energy, her dreams pulling her away from the trajectory of stardom in academia to the grounded reality of caregiving. She remembers it all too vividly now, the flashback hitting her like a wave crashing against the shore, transporting her back to the 1972nd when she was Rosa Carter, the prodigy who stormed through Stanford's physics program with a ferocity that left her peers in awe, publishing papers on quantum mechanics in prestigious journals before most of her classmates had even mastered basic calculus, her work on entanglement theories earning whispers of the next big thing in hushed conference halls where men in suits debated the fate of the universe. She was on the cusp of a PhD, invitations to international symposia pouring in like rain. Her mind a whirlwind of possibilities where particles danced in probabilistic harmony. But then came the diagnosis for Michael, a bolt from the blue that shattered her carefully constructed world. Doctor's appointments replacing lectures, hospital vigils supplanting lab experiments. She made the choice without hesitation, trading the sterile glow of computer screens for the warm, albeit exhausting, embrace of motherhood adapted to challenges most could scarcely imagine. Leaving academia behind, like a ship sailing into the horizon, vanishing from the records as if she had never existed, her name fading from citations, her contributions absorbed into the collective knowledge without credit. Now, in this quiet apartment where the clock on the wall ticks with mechanical indifference, Rosa grapples with the professor's dismissal from earlier, Kessler's smirk replaying in her mind like a looped recording. "Stick to serving soup, ma'am." His words a dagger wrapped in casual arrogance, stinging not because they were new. Oh, how many times had she heard variations of that theme, from skeptical advisors in her youth to condescending strangers in everyday life, but because they ignited a dormant fire, a refusal to be diminished any longer, she feels compelled to revisit the quantum problem, not out of spite, but from a deep-seated need to affirm that her intellect remains sharp, untarnished by years of menial labor. Rising from the table with a determination that straightens her posture, she retrieves the box, placing it gently on the surface as if handling fragile glass. Opening it releases a puff of dust that dances in the light, and she pulls out the notebook, its pages yellowed but the equations still vivid, symbols that once flowed from her pen like music from a composer's soul. She flips to a blank page, the first in decades, and begins sketching, her pencil moving tentatively at first, then with increasing fluidity, the entanglement model unfolding in her mind's eye, not as the professors saw it, a rigid structure doomed to collapse, but as a fluid dance of probabilities, where non-local correlations weave through the fabric of space-time. She adjusts the wave function parameters, incorporating decoherence rates in a novel way that reframes the Hamiltonian entirely. Hours slip by unnoticed, the tea growing cold, the outside world fading into irrelevance as her focus sharpens to a laser point, the problem yielding under her scrutiny like a lock finally turning after years of rust. It's not anger driving her, but a quiet reclamation, a dialogue with the universe she once conversed with freely. Now, as midnight approaches and the apartment's silence is broken only by the occasional creak of settling floors, Rosa knows she must act. She can't let this solution languish in a notebook. It deserves to be shared, even anonymously. Slipping on a worn coat that hangs by the door, she tucks the notebook under her arm and steps into the cool night air. The campus, a short walk away under streetlights that cast elongated shadows like fingers pointing toward destiny, the physics building looms in the moonlight, its glass facade reflecting the stars overhead as if mirroring the cosmic questions it houses. A janitor's key, borrowed discreetly from the cafeteria's hook during her shift and forgotten in the rush, grants her entry with a soft click that echoes in the empty hallway, heart-pounding not from fear but from the thrill of transgression. She navigates the familiar corridors because she's cleaned them countless times, dusting shelves lined with textbooks and wiping down whiteboards smeared with half-erased theories until she reaches a deserted lab, the room bathed in the soft glow of standby screens, computers humming faintly like sleeping beasts. Spotting one with a student's login still active. A careless oversight amid the chaos of deadlines, she slides into the chair, her fingers hovering over the keyboard before diving in. Line by line, she inputs the solution, reframing the entanglement model with her innovative wave function adjustment, the code compiling seamlessly, the simulation running without a hitch, producing results that align perfectly with theoretical predictions long thought impossible. It's elegant, precise, undeniable, a symphony of mathematics that sings of harmony and chaos. She saves the file under a nondescript title, Alternative Approach, logs out, and slips away as quietly as she entered. The lab returning to its silent vigil, but now holding a secret that will upend everything. Morning dawns with a crisp clarity, the sun rising over the campus like a curtain lifting on a new act, and the physics department erupts into chaos as Dr. Kessler arrives early, habitual in his routine, opening the lab computer to resume his futile simulations only to freeze in place. His coffee cup tilting precariously as he stares at the open file. "What the hell is this?" he mutters under his breath, the words escaping in a whisper of disbelief, the solution laid out before him flawless, solving the decades-old entanglement puzzle with a clarity that borders on revolutionary genius. His mind races through possibilities, a hack, a colleague's late-night breakthrough, but the math checks out, every variable accounted for, every perturbation stabilized. Patel bursts in moments later, summoned by his frantic call, her eyes widening as she scans the screen. This can't be a student. No one's this advanced. This reframing of the model. It's brilliant, paradigm-shifting. Her voice laced with awe mixed with professional envy. Chen joins them shortly after, rubbing sleep from his eyes, only to jolt awake at the sight. Impossible. We've been chasing this for years. And here it is, handed on a digital platter. The three huddle around the monitor, debating the implications, running verifications that confirm the solution's validity. By noon, the file is circulated via email across the department, sparking heated discussions in offices and hallways. Theories abound: a visiting scholar pulling a covert collaboration, a prankster with uncanny talent, or perhaps an AI experiment gone rogue. A graduate student, overhearing the buzz, tweets impulsively, "Unknown genius drops quantum entanglement bombshell in our lab overnight." Number mystery physicist. The post gaining traction rapidly, retweets flooding in from scientists worldwide, questions pouring forth like a digital deluge. Meanwhile, Rosa is back in the cafeteria, her routine unchanged on the surface, serving mashed potatoes with a steady hand, her face a mask of composure as she overhears snippets of conversation from passing students. "Did you hear about the mystery solve? Someone hacked the system or something." Their excitement palpable, whispers swirling like eddies in a stream, spreading across campus with viral speed. No one glances her way with suspicion. Why would they? She's just the lunch lady, invisible as ever. But inside, a quiet satisfaction blooms. Not from the impending recognition, she doesn't seek that, but from the knowledge that her mind, long sidelined, has proven its worth once more. The spark now a steady flame, illuminating paths she thought forever darkened. As the day wears on and the cafeteria fills with the lunch crowd, the air thick with speculation, Rosa wipes a counter, her rag moving in rhythmic circles, her thoughts drifting to Michael, how she'd tell him about this if he were here. His pride in her unwavering, this silent solution, forged in solitude, is her testament to resilience, a bridge between past brilliance and present obscurity, setting the stage for revelations that will challenge prejudices and rewrite narratives. The university pulses with unknowing energy, the mystery deepening with each passing hour, while Rosa, the architect of it all, blends seamlessly into the background, her secret safe for now, but the ripples already expanding, promising a transformation that will echo far beyond these walls, into the realms of science and society alike, where overlooked voices finally demand to be heard, not with shouts but with irrefutable proof of their power. This chapter delves into the tension of rediscovery, the reflective depths of personal history, intertwining with bold action, building suspense toward the inevitable unveiling, as whispers evolve into roars and the silent becomes the profound, drawing us inexorably forward into the heart of Rosa's triumphant resurgence, a narrative thread that weaves introspection with intrigue, ensuring each moment feels fresh, each revelation unique, avoiding the echoes of prior scenes to keep the audience captivated by the evolving layers of character and plot. The apartment's light still flickers in memory, but now the lab's glow takes precedence, the notebook's pages turn metaphorically in the digital realm, and the professor's confusion heralds a shift that promises to captivate and challenge, leaving us on the edge of discovery, eager for the voice that will soon roar in the chapters to come, where empowerment meets legacy in a crescendo of inspiration. The physics department buzzes with an electric undercurrent of speculation that ripples through the polished hallways like a current in a superconductor, offices abuzz with hurried whispers and frantic keyboard clacks, as professors and grad students alike pore over the enigmatic file that appeared overnight. Dr. Kessler pacing his cluttered office lined with bookshelves sagging under the weight of quantum tomes, his mind a tangle of confusion and reluctant admiration for the solution that has eluded them for so long. Who could have done this? He mutters to himself, fingers drumming on his desk as he replays the simulation results that confirm the breakthrough's validity, the entanglement model now elegantly resolved with implications that could redefine quantum computing and information theory, sparking visions of patents and papers in his ambitious thoughts. Meanwhile, Patel dives into the lab's security logs with the tenacity of a detective unraveling a cosmic mystery, her screen flickering with timestamps until she hits upon the footage from 2:17 a.m. The grainy black and white image capturing a figure slipping through the shadows, pausing at the door before entering with purposeful grace. Wait a second. She breathes, zooming in on the face illuminated by the hallway's emergency lights, recognition dawning like a supernova as she identifies Rosa Carter, clad in her familiar cafeteria uniform, notebook clutched like a sacred text. The lunch lady? Chen echoes from over her shoulder, his voice a mix of incredulity and dawning respect, the trio exchanging glances that shift from skepticism to stunned silence. That's impossible, Kessler declares, though his tone lacks conviction, prompting a deeper dive into university records and beyond, Patel's fingers flying across the keyboard as she accesses old Stanford archives through academic databases, unearthing digitized scans of yellowed journals where Rosa's name appears in bold print. Rosa Carter, class of 1976, lead author on groundbreaking work in quantum decoherence, cited by Feynman himself in a footnote, the revelations piling up like evidence in a trial, her disappearance from the field coinciding with personal records hinting at family obligations, the puzzle pieces snapping into place to form a portrait of sacrificed brilliance. Word spreads like a viral theorem across campus, from whispered huddles in lecture halls where students pause mid-note-taking to exchange theories, to faculty lounges where coffee grows cold amid heated debates. The mystery physicist is our own cafeteria worker, becomes the refrain, laced with a cocktail of awe, guilt, and curiosity that flavors every conversation. Social media erupts with hashtags like #LunchLadyGenius trending locally, posts from undergrads sharing blurry photos of Rosa serving trays, captions reading "Hidden Hero" in plain sight, garnering likes and shares that amplify the story's reach beyond the ivy-covered walls. In the midst of this whirlwind, a young black physics student named Aisha navigates the crowded quad with a notebook pressed to her chest like armor. Her steps hesitant yet determined as she enters the cafeteria during a lull, the room quieter than usual with patrons stealing glances at Rosa, who moves with her customary efficiency, wiping down a counter with a cloth that absorbs more than just spills, it soaks in the weight of unspoken histories. Aisha approaches tentatively, her voice barely above a whisper amid the clink of utensils. Miss Rosa, is it true? Did you solve the entanglement problem that's been stumping everyone? Her eyes wide with a mix of admiration and hope, reflecting the struggles of being underrepresented in a field dominated by faces unlike her own. Rosa pauses, setting down the cloth with a gentleness that speaks volumes, her gaze meeting Aisha's with a warmth that bridges generations. I just saw a different angle. Child, sometimes the view from the ground level reveals what the towers miss, she replies, her words carrying the wisdom of lived experience rather than textbook dogma, inviting Aisha to share her own work, the notebook opening to pages filled with tentative sketches of quantum circuits and half-formed hypotheses on superposition states. Rosa's finger tracing a line with expert insight, This here, your approach to error correction, it's innovative, but try incorporating adaptive feedback loops to stabilize the qubits, her guidance flowing like a mentor's legacy, transforming the cafeteria counter into an impromptu seminar where knowledge transfers not through podiums but personal connection, Aisha's face lighting up with validation she rarely receives in formal classes. You've given me hope, Miss Rosa, that someone like me can make it. The moment sealing a bond that promises ongoing mentorship. As news reaches the university president, a stately figure in a wood-paneled office overlooking manicured lawns, an invitation is extended via a formal email that Rosa reads on her outdated phone during a break, requesting her presence at an upcoming symposium on quantum advancements. She refuses twice. Emails polite but firm. Wary of being paraded as a curiosity or tokenized for diversity optics, I've no interest in spotlights that blind more than they illuminate, she types. But on the third appeal, personalized with acknowledgments of her past contributions unearthed from archives, she acquiesces under one strict condition. I won't dissect equations or bask in technical glory. I'll speak on the human elements, the resilience forged in silence, the prejudices that stifle potential, and the power of voices rising from unexpected quarters. The administration agrees eagerly, sensing the PR goldmine in her narrative of triumph over adversity. The auditorium fills days later with an unprecedented crowd, seats claimed by eager students cramming in extra chairs, faculty standing along the back walls with notepads at the ready, even maintenance staff and fellow cafeteria workers invited for the first time, occupying velvet seats that feel foreign yet affirming. The atmosphere thick with anticipation as lights dim slightly, focusing on the stage where a simple podium awaits under a banner reading Quantum Horizons. Voices unheard, Rosa ascends the steps in a simple navy dress tailored from thrift store finds, her old notebook held close like a talisman of authenticity, no fanfare or introductions laden with hyperbole, just her stepping to the microphone with a poise born of inner strength. Good afternoon, she begins, her voice resonating through the speakers with a clarity that commands attention. My name is Rosa Carter. I've ladled your soups, mopped your floors, endured your oversights while you pondered the stars. For years I was a shadow in your periphery. But shadows hold depths you can't imagine from the light. The crowd hushes, every word landing with the weight of accumulated truths. She weaves her story not as a lament but as a blueprint for change, addressing the systemic barriers that Black women face in STEM, subtle exclusions in labs, overt doubts in seminars, the exhaustion of proving worth twice over her tone measured. Devoid of bitterness but rich with unflinching honesty, I left physics not because it abandoned me, but because life summoned me to greater duties. Raising a son whose challenges taught me more about entanglement than any particle ever could, how we're all connected, interdependent. Our strengths amplified when we lift each other. Murmurs ripple through the audience. Nods of agreement from those who felt similar tugs. When you dismissed me, it echoed the world's habit of valuing titles over talent. But genius thrives in the margins, in the quiet persistence of those deemed irrelevant. She opens her notebook briefly, sharing not formulas but a sketched diagram of interconnected nodes representing human networks. The greatest discoveries emerge from diverse perspectives, from the voices you least expect. So listen to the janitor pondering circuits, the student questioning norms, the elder weaving wisdom from experience. Her speech crescendos with a call to action. Build bridges, not barriers. Foster inclusion that turns whispers into roars. For in every overlooked soul lies a universe waiting to expand. The room erupts in applause that starts as a wave and builds to thunder. Standing ovations sweeping across rows, some wiping tears of resonance, others bowing heads in reflective guilt. The university president takes the stage post-speech, announcing amid the echoes the Rosa Carter Scholarship for Underrepresented Scientists, a fund to support minorities in physics with stipends and mentorship programs, followed by the renaming of a state-of-the-art lab in her honor. its plaque engraved with "Where Brilliance Meets Resilience," symbolizing an institutional shift toward equity. Rosa returns to the cafeteria the next day. The space transformed subtly walls, now featuring murals of diverse scientists, including a portrait of her younger self amid quantum waves, her name tag updated to visiting lecturer, physics, though she insists on keeping the apron. "It grounds me, reminds me of the dignity in all labor," she tells inquiring colleagues. Aisha visits again during a quiet afternoon, her notebook brimming with refined equations inspired by their prior talk. "Miss Rosa, your words ignited something I applied for an internship at a quantum firm." Her excitement palpable. Rosa smiles, reviewing the pages with encouraging nods. "See this optimization? It's the spark of innovation. Nurture it, and it'll light paths for others," their exchange evolving into a regular ritual where Aisha brings peers, forming an informal circle of aspiring scientists who gather around Rosa's wisdom, discussing not just theories but life strategies for navigating academia's pitfalls. The campus atmosphere shifts palpably over weeks, with increased diversity initiatives, guest lectures from non-traditional experts, and a newfound respect permeating interactions, professors nodding greetings to staff, students volunteering in community outreach, the story's impact rippling outward via media coverage that frames Rosa as a beacon of hidden potential, inspiring articles in science magazines and viral videos recounting her journey. Yet Rosa remains centered, her days balancing lectures on quantum ethics with cafeteria shifts by choice, mentoring Aisha through late-night emails where she dissects research proposals with surgical precision. "Remember, child, science isn't just about solving puzzles, it's about solving for humanity," her guidance fostering a legacy that extends beyond awards into the hearts of a new generation poised to dismantle barriers. The auditorium's applause still echoes in collective memory. But now it's the everyday affirmations that resonate: a thank you from a passing student, a collaborative project inviting her input, the university evolving into a more inclusive ecosystem where voices once silenced now harmonize in pursuit of knowledge. Rosa's roar, subtle yet profound, redefines success not as individual acclaim, but as communal uplift, a narrative arc that culminates in quiet beauty, where the once invisible becomes the indispensable, inspiring all who witness it to seek the extraordinary in the ordinary, to champion the underrepresented, and to recognize that true progress entangles us all in threads of mutual respect and shared discovery. If this tale of empowerment and transformation has stirred something within you, echoing the themes of perseverance and revelation without retreading familiar grounds, hit that subscribe button to join us for more journeys of unsung brilliance. Share your reflections by rating from 0 to 10 the comments below, letting us know how stories like Rosa's resonate in your world. More narratives await, each unique in their unfolding, promising fresh insights and unbroken engagement as we explore the vast tapestry of human potential, one chapter at a time, where every ending births new beginnings in the endless quest for understanding and equity.